What's up, Spartans? This is JAG, aka Leonidas, and on today's video, I'm going to be showing you a great fireball bait in Royal Hogs deck. Now, whether you're new to the channel or you've come to this video from my other arena decks, I'm going to show you how to use this deck to win consistently. A couple things before we start. One, as always, this deck may or may not work for you. I pushed with this deck from Arena 8 to Arena 9, and I went undefeated. Now, just to show the proof here, we'll take a quick look, and you can scroll through. And yeah, so that's where I started at 2300. Now, number two, you're going to want all your card levels around the level 7 range or higher, and your King Tower to be around level 7 or higher as well. I was facing an average of King Towers between like 7 to 8, and with cards ranged level 7 to 9, and that's due to the legendaries. Now, number three, as you're going to notice, my current arena shows that I'm Arena 8. I did so that I can make more videos at this arena. So, today I've got 3 videos to show today. The first replay is going to show how to use the deck in general and countering a few cards. And the second is going to show you how to counter the Witch, the Prince, Hog. The third is going to show you methods of dealing with the Ramrodder and Royal Recruits. Even though Ramrodder is a higher arena level, I did face one that had it. You might as well. And if you have any questions on how to face different cards, pop them in the comments below and I will answer them to the best of my ability. Now, so let's begin. Here's the deck, and I will pin the comments below along with the cards you can replace each with. Now, you'll see the Royal Hogs is your only win condition, but that's really all you're going to need in this case. The average elixir is 3.8, so you don't really have a good cycle, but at double elixir, this deck does become very strong, especially with the elixir pump, and you'll see that later on. So finally, let's start with the replays. So here's the first deck replay. And basically what I want to get out of this is basically your Royal Hogs, your Elixir Pump, and your Flying Machine are going to be your Fireball bait. So ideally what you're going to try and get is them to use the Fireball on either the Flying Machine or the Pump, and that way your Royal Hogs kind of don't really have too much of an issue. The other 2 cards you're going to watch out for is your Bomber, and additionally you're going to have to watch out for the Velk. So you're going to try and catch those in the off cycle or when they don't have them in the hand. In this case, luckily the Velk wasn't used, and that's what you're kind of do. So basically you're going to try and play a little defensive. You're going to try and bait the Fireball out with your Flying Machine or your Elixir Pump, and then you're going to use the Royal Hogs. Quick tip, probably don't use the Elixir Pump right away, not until 2 scenarios. One, you come out with a large Elixir gap during single elixir time, so if for some reason I've got 10 and they have 2 or 3, then maybe drop the pump in that case. Otherwise, the only other scenario you're going to use it in is your double elixir, and that's where it's going to become very strong. So I wouldn't use the elixir pump otherwise for the first little bit, so try and bait out with the Flying Machine if you can. Now, your tombstones can be great for the Prince, for the Hog, for Giant, dragging anything towards that middle, and then basically allowing your tower and support troops to do any damage. Your Zap is going to be great for Skarmy, great for some of the aerials like minions, etc., bats, and especially when you drop the Royal Hogs. Now, in this case, I know that there's Goblin Barrel. You might have to use Fireball for Goblin Barrel. It's not always ideal, so if you... I mean, you don't really have much of those else for options, so you might have to use your Fireball, but just play it by ear and what they have in the deck. So let's actually start commenting on the game, since I kind of gave an explanation of the general concept. So here you're going to see the Giant Skelly get dropped. As soon as you see a big Elixir card like that, for the most part, I mean, I was a little down on Elixir, so I didn't. But for the most part, if you're equal, drop the Royal Hogs on the other side. They just dropped a huge troop. It's going to be very hard for them to counter that unless they have the perfect card like the Velk, maybe the Bomber in hand. But otherwise, you're going to do some mad damage. So keep that in mind. Now, as you can see, it's hit double elixir time. The Zap comes in handy, just like I mentioned with the Royal Hogs. I mean, then it almost becomes impossible to stop at that point. And with both elixir pumps at the back, you're going to be just, and now the third one, you're just going to be getting mad elixir, and you can essentially just drop cards like crazy. So that's basically the concept of this, and that's really going to be it. This is going to be just running out the rest of the game here, so you can see a bit more of an example. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to either, drop the Royal Hogs and get that last tower, hopefully just before at the end. But yeah, like I said, Giant Skelly in this case, good way to drag it over is the Tombstone, and then just drop some support troops from the back. So here's the second replay, and this one's going to be showing how to stop the Prince, the Hog, Musketeer, kind of like that. If you haven't already seen, the Tombstone is actually pretty good for stopping the Musketeer if you place it correctly, which will swing you 1 elixir. Like I said, Fireball on the Gob Barrel is probably a good idea. You can do that as well. If you're having trouble with the elixir pump, because this deck does require a little bit more skill to get the hang of and use, maybe consider dropping the elixir pump and putting something else in instead. If you got a legendary, you can always try that, since they come with a higher level automatically. But if you really want to get this deck and learn it well and kind of like master a new one, I would suggest trying to keep the elixir pump in there, because it gets handy, especially if you want to get into the high arenas or things like that. Now, with the, like I said, when they drop essentially a 5 elixir card or higher, so like the Witch, Giant, something along those lines, just drop those Royal Hogs on the other side, and you're going to have a good counter. Fireball is good at stopping the Gob Barrel. If there's nothing support troops and it's just the Goblin Barrel, you can probably just use the Zap. Bats are great as well, just make sure they don't have a Zap so you don't get screwed. The Mini P.E.K.K.A, as you can see, Bats on the Mini P.E.K.K.A will essentially take them out, and then you swing 2 elixir. Now, fortunately, they dropped the Hog on top of that, so I was able to get a lot as a result, which is kind of just more of a bad placement of a card on their part. Now, for the Baby Dragon, since a lot of people might be having trouble with those, I know in even other arena decks, a lot of people have trouble with the Baby Dragons. I would use the Flying Machine. 1 Flying Machine with your towers on the back is going to be enough to stop them, so that's what I would suggest using. All your other cards really aren't ideal. You can try and use the the Bats, and if you place them all around the Baby Dragon, I mean, that should be enough where you don't take too many hits on your towers, as long as you place it properly. As far as the Witch, never Fireball the Witch unless you have other cards in the same area. Just not worth it, especially when you have something like this. Protect that elixir pump, and once you're in the double elixir, you're really going to take advantage of this. So Flying Machine's a great one to stop the Witch. 1 Flying Machine will work. I dropped that Tombstone because I knew the Mini P.E.K.K.A was going to be there too, so it had kind of like a double effect. Bats are huge, especially if they don't have Zap, and if they use arrows, well then you're still swinging 1 elixir. As far as the Minion Horde, use Fireball, you can use Zap. That's what I recommend. So in this case, I mean, I again played the opposite side. You're going to be playing a lot of the opposite lanes when you see them drop a 5 elixir card or more. If you see it's 4 or 3, you might want to consider, okay, maybe playing defensive in that case. Tombstone drags the Mini P.E.K.K.A over. It's great for the Prince. I would use the Tombstones whenever you got something that's kind of a slow but like high damage card. And as you can see, I mean, in double elixir, you really get to take advantage of the other, essentially the match with your deck. So hopefully this one helped a little bit, and I got another one coming up that might be able to help a little bit more too, as another example. So this match was actually really interesting. 1, they had stronger cards. 2, they had a higher King Tower. And 3, they had the Ram Rider. And the Ram Rider doesn't come till, oh, I think it's like Arena 10 or 11. I can't remember. But you will see some people with some higher and more unique cards that shouldn't be in the arena that you have. And one of these was the Ram Riders. Perfect thing to stop, Tombstone. It's going to hit it, it's going to slow down, and then if you have something else like the Mini P.E.K.K.A or something like that, it's just going to shut it down. Another one you can use is the Zap. It does at least stop it and reset the speed. Just keep in mind that it will, if you give it enough time, go back. So if you're going to zap right before it hits your tower, and that way you won't have to worry about it. Bats are clutch in this deck. Use them pretty much all the time. Be careful with the Zap though. Once you know they don't have the Zap, then you can play them a little more freely, but in the meantime you want to watch out. So again, same thing. Tombstone right there. It's going to hit the Tombstone, and it automatically kind of resets that ramming speed charge up. So that's the way that I'd stop it. Now, I didn't know they had Royal Recruits. That's going to be another thing later on, but you'll see kind of how to stop them as well. And like I said, Fireball, don't use it on a 4 elixir card unless you have something maybe that's with it. So in that case, you saw the Princess and the Musketeer. Get a lot of value out of that. That's good. Don't use it on a Hut. Don't use it on, say, just the Wizard unless you're going to use a Zap combo, which I did a couple times. In this case, I actually dropped the Elixir Pump kind of in that middle there, because I figured if they drop the Ram Rider, it's going to go to the Elixir Pump. And I can also get the value of getting Elixir from the pump. So like I said, knew they didn't have Zap. Bats are great in this case. They're going to do mad damage on that right lane. I really just have to defend that left lane now. And I figure dropping that flying machine with a tombstone would at least make me take minimal damage. So, plus protecting my pump. And now we're about to go into double elixir. And as you can see, this is where I'm going to start to do my push kind of thing. So, not sure why didn't they just drop the actual barbarians in this case. They kind of decided to go offensive, which I didn't understand because, like I said, pump was going to drag the Ram Rider. Just, again, little things here and there, but they add up to the end of the game. So hopefully this is at least gives you a good idea of kind of how to use this deck. It's pretty good. It's kind of like a modified of a more popular one that was used at higher arenas that I saw a while ago, but it's pretty similar, if not the exact same. I can't exactly remember. But yeah, so as you can see, going 20 seconds in this, and at this point I just decided to go push all out because I didn't care about that one tower, and I kind of wanted to finish off on a high note by taking all three. So yeah, use if they don't have the fireball, the deck is actually quite strong. If they have the fireball, I mean, it works out because that's what I was banking on anyways, but a lot of people didn't have it really in their deck. So hopefully this helps helps you get to the next arena. And if it doesn't, check out my other videos. I've got a lot to try and give variation for people's deck types. If it does, then that's great. Anyways, thanks for watching, everyone. I'll catch you in the next video. This is JAG signing off. Peace out. See you later.